Hey y'alls. So I had my bocce tournament today and I won the first two games. Really, it went really, really well and lost the last two. And so we didn't get very far in the competition at all. But it was still a whole lot of fun. I waited until people won. And so one of my one of my group of friends, they won second place, which was really cool. Yesterday, I told you it was the first time that I had not hit my 12,000 steps. But thankfully, I'm back on track and I walked 12,721 steps today. Um, I just want to also give a shout out to, let me see if I have the name here, because I had made a comment yesterday about how Ryan Reynolds had misspelled Jamey's name. And Healing Flow Practice gave me 3 text messages from Blake Lively where she spells it the same way. So I thought at first that Blake Lively had spelled Jamey's name correctly before. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe both Blake and Ryan misspelled Jamey's name. Unless again it is Ryan pretending to be Blake, but knowing how Blake and Ryan function, they're the kind of people who most likely don't care about spelling people's name correctly and would not correct themselves. Even though in her text message with Jenny Slate, Jenny spells Jamey's name correctly. She still doesn't, she doesn't spell it correctly, but Jenny Slate knew enough how to spell Jamey's name. So I guess both Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively misspelled Jamey's name. Again, unless Ryan is sending these text messages, which I don't put beyond him. Hey, Christina. Hey, Gloria. And CM Pace and Pam. Gloria says Spider-Man: A Brand New Day was awesome. I'm looking forward to watching it. I'm watching the Odyssey first, just because we really want to make sure we get to see it on IMAX. And so we're going to be seeing an IMAX this upcoming week. And then I would like to see Spider-Man as well. I wonder if my friend it would be open to watching both. I wonder if Spider-Man is in. Anyways, let's see here. Hi, Kenny. Gloria said, Jamey, I think it's on purpose. I don't know if it's on purpose. I think they really just don't care if they misspell people's names. Hi, Kiara. CM Pace says we have a 70 millimeter IMAX in town over a town over from me. Yeah. Gloria said the Odyssey is amazing. It's loud though, and watch out for the preview. Other mother scared the daylights out of our entire theater. You know what? I heard about this. So I am going to make myself super aware not to watch that because everybody told me. And let me tell you how much of a little scaredy cat I am. I've literally yelled at like kid shows. I get so startled so easily. And I remember getting so startled in this like kid show that I yelped and little kids were looking at me like, what's your problem? So I'm a very easy screamer. So Pam said, oh my God, other mother ads are freaky. Yeah. Okay. So let's go with the first text message from Ryan Reynolds from when we last discussed things. So last night I had gotten only so far on it. We covered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 text messages. So we're going to try to cover more of it today. And so this one is with Colleen Hoover. So this is 2 days after or a day after the premiere movie. So not like the August 6th one, but the August 9th one. So 13 messages on August 10 between Ryan Reynolds and Colleen Hoover. And it's really interesting to see how Ryan is really milking things with Colleen. Hi, Khaleesi. So interestingly enough, they said deleted. What's that mean? Are they saying that this text message was deleted? They said this was deleted. Are they saying these text messages were deleted and they took it? Because it's not redacted. Redacted is different than deleted. So why are they saying that this is deleted? Um that again, that's to me that's different than saying it was redacted. Because obviously we've got eyes. We know it's redacted. And they don't put it that next to everything else. Hi, Donna. Hey, Lex Watson. They said most likely, yes. The red deleted label usually means the forensic extraction identified the message as deleted, but was still able to recover some or all of its content. It does not establish who deleted it, when it was deleted, whether it was deleted intentionally, whether it was deleted from the sender's phone, the recipient's phone, or another synced source. The timestamp shown is normally the message timestamp, not necessarily the deletion time. To be certain, you would need the report's legend or methodology section explaining how it uses the word deleted. So we'll look at the ones that got deleted and ask ourselves why in the world these two text messages, why was this text message deleted? And then how would we change the reading of it? Interesting. Okay, first and foremost, let's read the deleted text and then let's read the deleted text. First let's read the deleted text. Then let's read the text without the deleted text. And then let's read it with the deleted text and see how they tried to what they thought they were trying to change, how we received what was being said. Kiara said, have we read this one before? Yes, we've read this one before. I don't think I realized, though, that this had been deleted. So the first one was a deleted text from Ryan Reynolds to Colleen at 9:36 a.m. Hi, J Neil 7600, or is it J Neil or Jen Neil? Said Colleen, I'm sending you literally every form of congratulations. I see the sky while jumping up and down and rapidly clapping. At one point, I was 3 feet from you at the after party, but I wasn't able to extricate myself from the Sony Studios chairman's mouth. Why is he so fascinated? Why is he so into people being in his mouth or being in somebody's mouth? Why is that a thing? Why is that his favorite thing? I'm still here and a little shocked I have service. Holy effity F. You guys really pulled it off. Like Colleen, this thing is on fire everywhere. An audience have wrapped both arms around the film. You and B made something gorgeous out of ingredients you didn't ask for, which is what makes you both and this whole post-production team so clutch. I heard you guys got a tummy bug and you're stuck in New York. I can't think of anything worse. Although it might be your body ridding itself of any residual Baldoni. I'd rather be puking in a goulash than hijacking performative feminism while practicing personal growth catchphrases in the mirror. I hope you're taking a moment to enjoy this. I know the road isn't easy or clear. When you're a creator, an apex storyteller like you, I can imagine it takes a very resolute mind and heart to process all the strange people with muddled intentions trying to warm their hands on your light. What's happening this weekend with It Ends With Us is a victory lap, and a testament to fortitude. You created a world people wanted to experience about a subject that's hard to talk about. You and Blake opened the movie adaptation higher than most films with budgets 5 to 6 times larger during a movie season that was about to give up on female led films, as if that's a genre or something. This is a proving point that audiences will show up for a film if it's good, a lesson that industry learns and forgets in perfect concert with the seasons. What a complete effing win this is. I know we all breathe rare air. I realize how lucky we are. But I also know how genuinely good you and B are. And seeing good people put people over their knee for a good old fashioned pants down spanking in the supermarket is a special experience I don't take for granted. You both trued up this whole project on and off screen. You two are thoughtful and intentioned and relentless. And it's the same tender grit and humanity which created not only a world renowned novelist, but the engine that got this film to here. I could literally write you 85 more paragraphs eulogizing what this all means to me. This whole team rallied and delivered. Even Sony stepped up in ways I never imagined, but mainly, I'm just incredibly proud and inspired by you and B. Hope you're feeling so much better, and I can't wait for all of us to celebrate in person. If you and Redacted are still in NYC, that's probably her best friend. What's her name? I forgot what her best friend's name is, but that's probably her best friend. If you and Redacted are still in NYC, we're back tonight and would love to see you both. And if you feel like getting some fresh air, we have a whole beautiful empty cottage an hour out of the city. It's the perfect place to unplug from the internet's digital anxiety system. Lots of love. The Mickey Mouse joke on Deadpool was about removing something about the thing that he loves putting in his mouth, or loves to talk about people putting things in his mouth. That's pretty much what he was saying about Mickey Mouse. Same, it's the same old tired joke. He keeps doing the same old tired joke. It's the same joke. SGAXS. So the joke that he made his kids say, it was pretty much the same kind of joke, but it was with Mickey Mouse instead. So he's kind of that when I say he's unoriginal and like predictable and boring and keeps repeating the same thing, he loves that joke. He thinks it's so funny. Now my question is, why did he delete that text? I don't know. Oh, okay, I see. He deleted it because he replaced it with this text a minute later. So he must have changed something. So let me double check with the Colleen Hoover one that she deleted. Okay, it makes sense now. They deleted it because they replaced it with some other text message. So what's the difference between this first text message and the second text message? So, oh gosh, I need to open it twice so I could compare. So I'm going to look at it in two ways. So there's the one where it's the one that we've been reading. So let me see. Let me switch it to the one that they didn't delete. He didn't delete. So let's go down here. This was the replacement of it. What's the difference? Let me look. Okay, nothing different with the first with the greeting, with the first paragraph, with the second paragraph, with the third paragraph, still the same. Okay. Um Um. Okay, that's the same. Okay. Wait a minute. Am I looking at the wrong one? Did I keep moving the wrong one or what? Okay, I'm putting it right here. Okay. Okay, that's the same. What did he change? That's the same. That's the same. That's the same. What did he change? I honestly I can't find what in the world he changed. Oh, you know what? It's because I think oh gosh. I think I kept switching. Hold on. Okay, let me relook over here. That's the same. That's the same. That's the same. That's the same. And then I genuinely don't know what he changed. But then I didn't read every single word. It's just that I was looking at where things ended on the page. And whatever he changed was not a big deal. I mean, it wasn't yeah, I don't know what the difference is. So I'm just going to move on. Then Colleen responded back, I just landed in Texas, crying face, redacted, non responsive. Said, thank you so much for this message. This has been such a whirlwind, both beautiful and terrifying. And I sometimes feel like I don't belong, but Blake has made me feel so welcome and valued. And I couldn't be more grateful to her, to both of you. And yes, I saw you too and could feel you being pulled in a million directions. Why was this man getting pulled a million directions on a movie that wasn't his? Why were I mean, I get it. He's a movie star, blah blah blah. The numbers seem amazing. It's my first movie obviously, so I don't really know what to compare it to and I'm still learning, but I heard we beat some comic book film on Friday, so that's good. I hope y'all are able to get some rest soon. Thank you really doesn't cut it for all you and Blake have done for this film. Oh, you and Blake, you and Blake. When we read that article that said Ryan Reynolds' fingers were all over this movie. The reality is every time people say that, oh, people don't like Ryan Reynolds because of his wife and she dragged him into this lot. No, no, she did not. He was very much into why all of this went down the way that it did. And sometimes I feel like more so at times. Um Thank you really doesn't cut it for all you and Blake have done for this film. It's life changing for more than just me. You guys are class acts, and I will stand by that forever. Will you, Colleen? Have you, Colleen? Ryan Reynolds says there is no comp for this. That isn't hyperbole. A weekend number that was around 30 mil would have been parade worthy, but 45 to 50, maybe more. And then he does whatever those emojis mean. That's just not something that happens for any movie without spandex or giant IP. This speaks volumes of you and what you've done, and it certainly speaks volumes of B. And I know things have been noisy with that schmuck. He literally hired Johnny Depp's crisis team, which is why social has been so weird. They utilize thousands of bots, and it's all kind of gross. The higher road, oh, roll my eyes. You don't know what the higher road looks like, Ryan. You don't. I mean, I really do think that he sometimes tries to take on other people's personas because you do not know what the higher road looks like. Maybe you're high on that road, but just kidding. Just joking. The higher road can be lonely, but the movie opening to this historic number is the checkmate nobody can compete with. I hope you can take this in. It's not only hard fought. Oh, was it hard fought? In what ways? Hey, Suki. It's not only hard fought, but a very rare feeling worth holding on to. Blake has been emotionally wrecked the last couple days, but she's so happy this worked. What worked? The takeover? The takeover that she said she did not do? Hoping we all get to celebrate together soon. Okay, this is another one that was deleted, but let's see if there's any difference between the two text messages because I couldn't see it for the other one. Colleen says, I had a feeling this was Justin's team controlling the online narrative. Girl, you are so laughable, Colleen. Do you understand that Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively has had a PR machine for decades? And if blind items back in like decades ago were to be true, which you don't ever really know, the amount of money they were paying for their PR company, allegedly 2 decades ago, was more money than they allegedly paid Jed Wallace for 3 months. And if you think about how much prices increase over time, that's how much, like, I do not know why they tried to push this idea that there was this big machine that Justin has while trying to act like they didn't have way bigger machine. A way bigger machine than Justin Baldoni could ever dream of. It's not their fault that their client sucked, okay? If your client sucks, I'm sorry, as good of a PR company as you are still limited by your client. I had a feeling this was Justin's team controlling the online narrative. I'm just staying offline and have a wonderful group of people in my life who send me all the good stuff. I'm not going to lie. For 44 years, I've lived a relatively quiet existence. The last few weeks have been challenging and an adjustment, and probably why my body shut down this week. I'm used to working in a cave on solo projects where I own all the successes and failures, and no one really speculates about how I'm getting along with myself. Being thrust into this head on with absolutely no idea how big it would get and so fast has been jarring. It's why I'm so good at the Irish exits, as Blake says. But with my minimal experience comes the fact that I have no idea if ignoring everything is the best response. It feels like it for now, but I have no PR team. It's just me and my fabulous intuition. Oh, girl, I don't know how fabulous your intuition is. You think you have a fabulous intuition? I don't think you do. But you guys let me know if you ever need me to respond differently to all this noise. Hi, Kimberly. Or did I say hi to you already, Kimberly? I a while back. Sometimes I forget if I've said hi to somebody already. Kenny said, Bocce, my friend Holly and I did a live stream yesterday. Hey, yeah, Kenny. Yeah, Kenny. I'm glad you did. I did a live stream yesterday about PR. She is in PR, and she said the same thing about you are limited by your client, basically. Kenny said, I did it. Yeah, I'm so proud of you. Okay. So let me see if there's any difference in the text message she didn't delete. Because again, I couldn't see the difference between the one for Ryan Reynolds. Um, yeah, I. Oh wait a minute. Yeah, I. There's not a difference. So why did they delete some of this stuff? I don't understand. So no, there is no spoilation on this because it's literally like the same text message. Did they just add a period somewhere? What is the difference that they would want to delete something and resend it? I'm gonna go a little bit slower and going back and forth to see if I'm missing why in the world they deleted it in the first place. Um, yeah, there's no difference. So why delete it? I don't understand. I don't get it. Anyways, then Ryan says, yeah, when he uses a crisis team like that, you can start to see all the strategy they've equipped him with. Crisis team. Okay, Justin, all you do is talk about DV and how wonderful Blake is, and we'll handle the online stuff. No matter what, you keep up your feminist advocacy and speak like an emotionally elevated thought leader. Understood? Justin, namaste. Let's get this. And Colleen laughed at that. I mean, a part of me goes, though, how much? I mean, I always think that Liz and Colleen are both backstabbers, right? But a part of me goes, maybe they were just fake friends to be. I mean, like, I guess that's what backstabbers are in a way, but like, but sometimes Justin assumes somebody's closer or more of a friend to him than they really are, which is it's sucky when you think that somebody's actually your friend and they're not. And so, like, Colleen gave this impression of kind of being like this kind of nice, low key person. And it just feels like if somebody she said that she had her own issues with Justin already before even Blake got involved with her. And I'm like, but you didn't give that impression until Blake came around. You know what I mean? So maybe you're just a faker. You know what I mean? And not to say that people don't fake, right? For the peace. Sometimes people fake for the peace. Um, I know Christina said, is it a delete and resend or just an edit that is how it comes on the software? I don't know. It says delete. Um, but there's nothing different between the two texts. Versus the Melissa Nathan text. The Melissa Nathan text, she deletes it, and then when she resends it, she adds the infamous line, the untraceable line. The original text message from Melissa Nathan did not have the untraceable line. That's why it always makes me laugh that became the biggest statement used against Melissa Nathan, and it wasn't even part of her original text message. Ryan Reynolds says, and I think the truth about him is already finding its way to the light. Oh, interesting, Ryan. You think that the truth about him is already finding its way to the light? Why do you think that? Is it because you sent stuff to Jenna? Is it because Jenna was trying to find how to bring to light these things that y'all funneled to them? Is that what? Allegedly. Is that why you were pretty sure that the truth about him is already finding its way to the light? Is that what it is? Did Leslie make a few little decisions, even though, hi Les, it's hi Ryan, it's Les. Text says don't do anything, but then you have a text message with Warren saying that Leslie should go hardcore or ish kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. Anyways, then Ryan goes, it's amazing to me that you can have everybody involved with the production completely run away from a person who's obviously a predator and sociopath. And the narrative must first land on why a woman is the problem. It's amazing to me how low people still go. But people are already coming forward, and soon enough, someone is just going to go on record. Interesting, Ryan. Who's been coming forward? And soon enough, someone's just going to go on the record. Who's that? Who is that? I wonder. Who is that? Who are these magical people that were going to come forward and go on record? I mean, you literally, not you, I don't know who did, but somebody convinced that one content creator / supposedly like some sort of professional to peddle 3 fake HR complaints to try to make the public believe those 3 HR complaints were real. Who gave those things to her? And why was she given the idea to try to peddle it to Justin Baldoni supporters? As if people weren't going to peg it immediately that those were fake HR complaints. I mean, all of this was happening, wasn't it? I don't know if it was happening all around the same time. No. That was happening after the lawsuit came out. That was in February or ish. That fake, those fake HR complaints were going around. But honestly, if anybody saw those fake HR complaints, you would understand why no people with any brain cells would have run an article on it. You know what I mean? Nobody. Because anybody who's worked in HR would have known immediately that was fake. Christina said, almost like there is a smear campaign against Justin. I honestly believe they were doing a smear campaign on Justin during that time frame. That's why my first video was in shock when I found out that Blake Lively was saying the smear campaign was being done on her. Because I was like, oh, I thought she was doing a smear campaign on him. Because all I had ever heard was positive things about her coming out of his mouth. Of course, now I know better that he didn't necessarily mean it, but the public didn't know that. So as far as Justin Baldoni was concerned, he would have allowed us to believe that Blake Lively was this amazing actress who made everything better that she touched, you know. But it was Blake Lively that was like, no, let them know that I'm a horrible individual. And actually, I don't want you to just let them know that I'm a horrible individual. I want you to let them know through my lawsuit that my husband sucks too. Oh, and that my best friend was involved. I mean, mind you, I kind of asked her to be every step of the way. Oh, and also, you know, she literally dragged a bunch of people into this whole thing that never asked to be. Hi, Elsie. You know what I mean? So it's wild to me. But people are already coming forward. Who? Unless, as soon enough, someone is going to go, unless the people are already coming forward is Claire Ayub. But then, I think this, I wouldn't be surprised if this is Claire Ayub. I wouldn't be surprised if this was about Claire Ayub and Liz Plank. But it has nothing to do with him being a predator or a sociopath, but everything to do with the fact that they consider him a fake feminist. Because he didn't give them what they wanted. Oh my word. Claire Ayub had to have a conversation about staying on budget. Boo-hoo. I mean, if you even remember reading Claire Ayub's declaration, she says, in the course of my job, meaning it was part of her job to have this conversation that she ended up having with Justin. But it says, and the narrative must first land on why a woman is the problem. That's not, that's not the narrative. It wasn't that the narrative was a woman is the problem. The narrative is Blake is the problem. Just because she happens to be a woman didn't mean that her womanhood, her being a woman, had anything to do with her being the problem. Don't get it twisted, Ryan. Hi, Jen. It's wild to me that you're thinking, oh, people think a woman is the problem, as if her womanhood is the problem. No, it's not. Blake is the problem. She happens to be a woman. You are a problem, Ryan, and you're not a woman. But I would put you on the same category as your wife. So, and frankly, most people would have. Ryan. Most people would have. So what do you mean that people were thinking that she was the problem? The reason that they were even having issues with your wife at that time, Ryan, was literally the promotion that you and her decided to do. Your genius marketing plan with maximum effort. You're not taking any personal accountability, responsibility. And that's why even when I watched this whole thing unfold, I thought to myself, this man truly meant it when he said he would use his wife as a woman, as a human shield. Because I watched Ryan Reynolds literally go, you know what, Blake, I'm willing to sacrifice your reputation because I'm willing to put my wife's reputation on trial, kind of thing. You were willing to let your wife suffer as long as your career didn't suffer. And the moment that you realize you screwed yourself over and that this was going to finally hit your Marvel fan base, the sooner or later, the repercussions of your actions, the minute you knew that your text messages were going to come out publicly, suddenly there is a settlement. Finally. I think that if you could have watched your wife's reputation go up in flames just as long as your reputation was still intact, you wouldn't have cared. Allegedly. That's how I feel sometimes. Because there's some times where I watched how Ryan would have like completely nothing on his search engine, search results, even though he is so smack dab in this mess. The fact that you still have Marvel, like the Marvel fan base, literally asking in the comment section, oh my word, why are people so mad at Ryan Reynolds? What's the big deal? He did an amazing job at making sure his wife took every beating and hit in the media. And he was supposed to be completely untouched. And you know what? It worked for a really long time. And he kept letting it happen until one day he realized, oh, I screwed myself over. Because now it is not just my wife. Now it's going to hit my Marvel fan base. And I don't know if it's really ever fully going to hit the Marvel fan base. I mean, you've seen some of like the fact that one guy called Ryan Reynolds a god. I didn't realize that people were on that high of a level of like commitment to Ryan Reynolds. Okay. That's another level of commitment to think that Ryan Reynolds is a god. Okay. So I don't know if it's ever fully going to hit his Marvel fan base, but I would like to believe that I don't care for the Marvel fan base that might have no like I should say moral compass, because obviously I understand that people have differing perspectives on this, and it has nothing to do with like morality more than like perception at times of like what's bad or what's regular or whatever. But all to say, like, it's going to be interesting if it finally truly hits the Marvel fan base, where people who are asking, what is this all about? That's why I said, find the one thing you can say to a Marvel fan base to let them know exactly. Because because there are folks that don't really care about the answers, but there's other folks that absolutely do care about the answer and genuinely did not know anything that was going down with this whole thing, and just probably thought it was just Blake, and boo hoo hoo, her husband. Like, that's just he should be unscathed, because yeah, and he was for a really long time. I don't know when it finally started hitting Reynolds, like, fan base fully. I think there was always like little sprinkles here and there, but I really think right now, even his reception at Comic-Con was like, it was positive, but it was still, I think it would have been more had it not been for this kind of stuff. Gloria said they don't care what RR did. All they want is another same old thing, Deadpool. I mean, that's what they're gonna get. That's what they get with Ryan Reynolds, the same old thing. He doesn't have any ideas that are his own. He recycles things and calls it nostalgia. So SGAXS says he lied. He had handlers. FYI, look at her niece. What does handlers mean? What do handlers mean? Um, I still don't know. Right here who he's talking about, because nobody ever did. Unless he was talking about Clara Ayub. And soon enough, someone's just going to get on record, or is it someone's just going to hit record on a conversation with Steve Sarowitz? Colleen says it's mind-blowing, but also I feel like the loud ones are mostly 13-year-olds who don't have fully developed brains yet and will be mortified by their thought process a few years from now. Good to hear it's already beginning to skew away from him. Colleen, I think sometimes, first and foremost, why do you got to insult 13-year-old kids? When I feel like I'm not quite sure how, I feel like you were equally susceptible to things as a however old you are, Colleen. Like, you're putting down these and the fact that you think that they're mostly 13-year-old kids, is that your fan base? Is that what you assume your fan base is? Or, you know, there's got to be a psychology around like using certain numbers to say something. Is there a psychology when people say things like a 13-year-old? Because I feel like there's something about calling people like 13-year-olds. Okay, it says here, Yes, choosing a specific age, like a 13-year-old, can carry psychological and rhetorical meaning, although it depends on the context. 13 is often chosen because it sits at a noticeable boundary. The person is officially a teenager, but still generally understood as a child. That can emphasize vulnerability. A 13-year-old sounds younger and more dependent than a teenager. Moral seriousness. The speaker may want the listener to recognize that the person lacked adult judgment, power, or experience. A turning point. 13 represents early adolescence, puberty, changing identity, and increased awareness. Emotional impact. A precise age creates a stronger mental picture than saying a young person. Personal association. The speaker may have been 13 during an important experience, know someone that age, or unconsciously connect that age with a meaningful memory. Strategic framing. Sometimes people select the youngest accurate age because it makes an event sound more disturbing. Others may say teenager to make the same person sound older and more responsible. The wording also matters. A 13-year-old child emphasizes innocence. A 13-year-old teenager may emphasize growing independence. She was only 13 signals that the speaker believes her age should substantially affect how the situation is judged. So the age may be factual, symbolic, emotionally significant, or deliberately persuasive. Um, but I mean, yeah, I don't know. Ryan says, surprising, it's mostly girls. At least that's what I've seen. And the really smart folks already know. I'm sure they do. Because you always think you're the smartest one in the room, don't you? Although the narrative at the moment is how insanely well the film is performing and how much audiences love it. So, okay, then what's your problem? Why are you wow if if the narrative at the moment is how insanely well the film is performing and how much audiences love it? Like, then why are we here, Ryan? Why are we here almost 2 years later from this text message? You know what I mean? Okay, that was with Colleen. Then 2 to 3 days later, he's having a conversation with Patrick Whitesell and Warren Zavala or Zavala. This is August 12th through the 13th. Again, 11 messages. This is at 8/12/2024 at 9:23 p.m. And Rob says, I appreciate you guys taking time to hear me out. I know I sound angry, but I promise you I have way more rage in the tank. We know, Ryan. We know. You don't got to tell us twice. We've heard. We know you have a lot more rage in your tank. We know. I just feel depleted and exhausted. And as they say, keep away from the dying animal. I can't and won't sit by watching my wife, who's been asked to shapeshift around a problematic man since the very beginning of this movie, complete a grand slam home run only to be dragged through the mud while people ring the shame bell behind her. And beside me and her, nobody seems willing to have an uncomfortable conversation on her behalf or on my behalf. Why do they got to have it on your behalf, Ryan? Why do they need to have it on your behalf? But here's the thing, too, Ryan. You said that nobody besides me and her are willing to have an uncomfortable conversation on her behalf or my behalf. My question, Ryan, is why was all of these conversations behind the scenes? Why didn't you just get on record? You keep saying people are going to come on record. People are going to come on record. Nobody goes on record. I'm sorry. Why am I so angry? Sorry. Let me pull back a little bit. But I'm just tired of him claiming that all these people are going to go on record and how like nobody's coming on record and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, you don't even come on record, Ryan. The closest that he does is this wimpy, cowardly, like passive aggressive speech he does right after her lawsuit comes out. And he's talking about how like women, blah, blah, blah. I forgot exactly what he said, but it was passive aggressive. It wasn't, he didn't say it with his full chest. Like, when has he ever come out and really said anything? All he did was do all this dirty work in the behind the scenes. And he's acting like, oh, my wife and I are the only ones willing to do anything. You didn't do jack squat publicly. You didn't do jack squat publicly. You did all of this behind the scenes. Because you didn't want to get your hands dirty, really, publicly. You just wanted to do it behind the scenes. Hi, Bio Music. Is it Bio Bixio? Bixio. I think it's Bixio Music. Hi, Bixio Music. Hi, Mari. Thanks for the $4.99, Janelle 7600. You said gotta go. Thanks for all the lives, Bocce. You're welcome. Sorry that I word. Sometimes I don't know why I don't realize I get upset over. Sometimes I'm like, okay, whatever. Okay, let me try to get through this again. I can't and won't sit by watching my wife, which I think you actually did sit by and watch every single time. Thank you, Bixio. Just wanted to thank you and send so much love. I appreciate that. Hi, don't PR me. Don't PR me said I've known personalities like Ryan. They embarrass themselves. The quote unquote rage is a signal to deep insecurity. Mari says, so arrogant and full of themselves, they are not navigating this PR crisis well because they don't adapt or grow. No matter how many times he whines in interviews about his insecurities, he never changes. Gloria said, I dealt with a Blake Lively in real life, and let me tell you the damage that she did. I still deal with the trauma from it. Khaleesi, thank you. You said love some bocce. Thank you. Anyways, he's like so surprised nobody's willing to have an uncomfortable conversation. That's why we knew an uncomfortable conversation comes from Ryan Reynolds. People called it right out on the Don Saladino thing. Remember how Don Saladino changed his post 3 different times? 3 different times. And one of the times he adds this statement, an uncomfortable conversation. And he goes through he says he had an uncomfortable situation. Blake Lively uses that in her lawsuit, and the minute people call out how it reads like Ryan Reynolds, what does Don Saladino do? Deletes that in his 3rd edit of that particular post. It says a lot. Also, notice how Ryan wants people to have uncomfortable conversations, and yet his wife's biggest complaint is the uncomfortable conversations that she claims she had with Justin Baldoni. And my point is, uncomfortable does not mean harassing necessarily, as he well knows in the statement about uncomfortable conversations. You can have an uncomfortable conversation with somebody and it has nothing to do with that person and has a lot to do with maybe yourself and your discomfort with something, but it doesn't make it like sketchy. It doesn't make it wrong just because it's uncomfortable. Just because someone is uncomfortable does not equal SH. I'm sorry. It just doesn't. Sometimes that's a you issue that you need to work through. Sometimes it is SH. I'm not saying it's never SH, but what I'm saying is sometimes people use the word uncomfortable. And in this assumption, there's certain people that believe that their comfort is an entitlement, an expectation that they never get experience any sense of discomfort ever. And just the mere idea of being uncomfortable must be some sort of violation, which is not. There's people that make me uncomfortable, and at the same time, I I I have to differentiate between my own discomfort and where that's coming from versus all those other things. It might be worth a conversation. It's the fact that they don't even have conversations. They just amplify. Okay, I gotta backtrack because I'm feeling too much, and so I gotta pull myself back a second because I'm just gonna start. But all to say, having an uncomfortable conversation, which apparently Ryan Reynolds wanted people to have, is the same kind of claim that, oh, he made me uncomfortable. So uncomfortable is not necessarily a negative thing. It can be, but it doesn't need to be. Kenny said yelling and berating someone is not having a conversation. Absolutely not. I spent too many hours to reason and negotiate a way through this. At minimum, neutralize the situation, and at best, advocate for the truth to be told, when the truth should, in reality, be the only thing we advocate for. Okay, Ryan. Where is Sony as well? You know what? We asked the same thing. Okay, we asked the same thing for folks that are pro Justin. We wondered where Sony was in all of this, and you know what we found out? Sony was protecting Sony. Sony wasn't protecting Wayfarer, and we found out Sony wasn't protecting Blake either. They were protecting Sony. And you know what? For someone who was protecting Sony, they thought your wife was an effing terrorist. But they also thought, Ryan, that you were involved. So, I'm sure Josh did. Look at this. Greenstein said he'd go on record about this today with the trades. Ooh. Greenstein said he'd go on record about this today with the trades. Ooh. This was August 10th. You know what's really interesting with this statement? You know what this tells me? Really, what's really interesting is when Melissa Nathan finds out that someone leaked out the story that she is the crisis person for Justin Baldoni. What did she say to her friends? She said, the good thing is this is just in the trades. And I think that article came out on August 12th. Was it Greenstein that actually leaked it? I was under the impression that Melissa's friends accidentally told somebody that ended up writing about it. But what is Greenstein going on record about today with the trades? Because now it makes me want to go to Melissa Nathan's deposition one more time. Because it's interesting to me that he says that Greenstein said he'd go on record about this today with the trades. Oh, I was looking at Melissa Nathan's deposition, but I realized that was not from that. It was for it was a different one. It was when they were trying to find out from Justin if he knew. If he knew about Melissa Nathan and Hollywood Reporter. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. Was it not there? I'm fairly sure it was here. Who are they talking to? I'm fairly sure the deposition was with Justin Baldoni. Why am I not finding it? Sorry, y'all. Sometimes I get into these phases where I'm like, I need to find this thing, and then I get sidetracked. But there was a conversation in a deposition where they read off something about a trade. Oh, this is Jamey Heath's deposition. That's not going to work because that's not. It needs to be Justin's. Trade. Hold on. Sorry. I apologize. Oh, so there's not. My word. Was I misremembering it? Because there's no trades in here. Maybe I'm misremembering it. Okay. Oh, gosh. Okay, I gotta let it. Again, I can't stand it when I get something so stuck in my head. And I'm like, I want to know about this. And then I get so lost in the sauce. Oh, no, it's not in the deposition. It's in the text messages. But no, it isn't the text message that that is in the text message between oh gosh, sorry. Okay, one more thing. Okay, I'm sorry. I need to find this. It's gonna bother me. Okay, here we go. I finally found it. And I want to know. Okay. Okay, this is gonna. I'm gonna read the deposition. If you need to sleep, Gloria, and Christina, feel free. I understand. I mean, it's 10:41 my time over here too. So, okay. Okay, on the first page of this, there's a text from Amy Chozik and then a text from Melissa Nathan. that says, as read, I'm on Zoom, but we need to pin Amy. I'm on Zoom, but we need to pin Amy through me to the wolves. Do you see that? Uh-huh. And then Amy says, as read, I didn't know that Josh would put it on the wires. Do you see that? Okay. Now, here's the thing. She's not talking about Josh Greenstein. But now I'm wondering, is it not Josh? Who is Pam married to? They said this is not Josh Greenstein, but that's ironic that his name is Josh. Josh. Do you see that? I do. And then Amy says, as read, my money is on Melissa against the wolves anyway. Do you see that? I do. Then Melissa says, stop sucking up. And then Amy says, I should be your publicist. Hire me. Do you see that? I do. And Melissa says, done, 0.00 per year. Do you see that? I do. Now, this text thread is on the same day as the Hollywood Reporter article was published. Shapiro, is that a question? Sean, no. Are you aware of whether or not they're talking about the Hollywood Reporter article that named Melissa as your crisis PR? Shapiro, objection. He just said that he's never seen this before. Justin, I've never. Shapiro, can you move to something that he actually has knowledge of? Shaw, no. I'm going to ask him the questions I'm going to ask him. Justin, is it okay if I read the document? Shaw, of course. Justin, okay, I've read it. Do you now understand that they were joking about the Hollywood Reporter article that identified Melissa as your crisis PR? Shapiro, objection. Justin, it appears to be the case. Shaw, okay, flip with me to the page marked 1,222 at the bottom. Okay. Do you see where where Amy Chozick at around 7:40 says, I told our friend Josh that Melissa is a boss and has a cool client. Josh told his wife, who's a very prominent publicist. Sarah somehow told the Hollywood Reporter, and now they are doing a story on Mel. Do you see that? I do. You understand this is how the Hollywood Reporter got that story. It appears that that is what Amy is saying. Flip the page to 1223. You see a screenshot texted by Melissa of a conversation between her and Pam. Do you see that? I do. You don't need to flip back to the article, but I'll present to you that Pam is Pam McClintock, who wrote the Hollywood Reporter story on Melissa. Okay, and you see they're texting as read. Good to chat. Melissa says, just checking in to see if I need to look out for this article, and if so, when. And then Pam says, was just texting you. Story is very fair and going soon. Melissa says, thank you. Do you see that? Yes. Were you aware that Melissa had spoken on background with the Hollywood Reporter ahead of the story being published? I was not. Were you aware that she was managing coverage in the Hollywood Reporter story about her before the story was being published? I was not. Amy Chozick writes, perfect. Do you see that? Oh, sorry. Down here. Yes. And if you flip the page, they're talking about, as read, what publication? THR. Ooh, exciting. I think so. Do you see that? Are you aware that Melissa and her friends were boasting and joking about how good this article was going to be for Melissa at the time? Shapiro, objection. Justin, I wasn't aware of this, so no. Shaw, because Melissa never told you any of this, did she? Shapiro, objection. Justin, I think I testified to what Melissa told me earlier, which was not this. So, Shaw, okay. If you flip the page to 1225, you'll see that Melissa texts the Hollywood Reporter story to this group thread when it goes up. Do you see that? Uh-huh. Okay, and then Ashley says, as read, oh, that's really good, Mel. Like, really good. Do you see that? I see it. And then Amy says, boom, this is good, right? Yes, I see it. And then Amy, lower below, says, as read, you're going to hear from all the problematic men. Dick Picklepalooza. Ashley says, men are always the problem. You're in the right game. Do you see that? I do. What do you think of this, seeing it now? Shapiro, objection. Justin, I think it sounds like a group of female friends talking to each other about an article. Shaw, are you pleased to see that Melissa was joking with her friends about the article that was causing you consternation at the time? Objection. I'm not, Justin, I'm not pleased. I don't think that's the word. But Shaw, are you pleased by the fact that when you asked her to explain this article for you and what it meant, she didn't tell you any of this? Shapiro, objection. Justin, I'm sorry. Are you pleased by the fact that when you asked Melissa explain this article to me and what it means, she didn't tell you any of this? Shapiro, objection. Justin, again, I wouldn't say I'm pleased. No. Are you pleased to be lumped in among Melissa's friends with a group of all the problematic men that need Melissa's help? Shapiro, objection. Justin, I would hope that they weren't thinking I was one of the problematic men, but that she was going to hear from all of the problematic men. Then it says, as read, Dick Pickapalooza. So whatever that means. Shaw, do you understand from this that essentially what they're saying is this is an article about how Melissa has helped Johnny Depp in his abuse trial against Amber Heard and is now helping you in relation to the allegations by Blake Lively against you? And so now she's going to be hearing from all of the problematic men? Shapiro, objection. Justin, I believe one could infer that this is what they were talking about. Shaw, do you see Melissa anywhere in this text thread saying, what are you talking about? Justin is not a problematic man? Shapiro, objection. Justin, not in the pages that you gave me. Shaw, instead, if you look at 1226, you will see that Ashley says, as read, Blake Lively noting Melissa's name. Ha ha. Then Amy says, as read, Joaquin Phoenix is calling. And then Melissa says, I effing wish, right? I see that. Do you have a view from this text thread about whether or not Melissa thought the publication of this article was going to be good for her business? Shapiro, objection. Justin, I can't guess on what Melissa was thinking or feeling at that time. Shaw, do you think it would have been fair for people to infer from the fact that you chose to hire Melissa Nathan that you were now one of a group of problematic men that she tended to work with? Shapiro, objection. Justin, do I think it would be fair for people to infer? I think people's opinions are fair. I mean, I can't control people's opinions. Shaw, do you think that would be a fair inference for people to draw from the fact that you had hired Melissa Nathan, who had also worked with other problematic men? Shapiro, objection. Justin, I think, yeah, I think that would be fair. I think in this case, yeah. Shaw, do you think you're a problematic man? Shapiro, objection. Justin, I don't. Shaw, not in any respect? Shapiro, objection. Justin, I'm not sure how to answer that. Shaw, with a yes or no? I don't. Okay. So I read all that, but I realized this was not where the conversation with Melissa Nathan. There is a text message where Melissa says to someone, at least it's only in the trades. And maybe it's in a conversation with Melissa, with maybe it's a conversation that she has with Jen Abel. But definitely when I read trades here, it made me think about the text message where I think it probably was with Jen Abel. She was trying to tell Jen, hey, it's not a big deal because it's just in the trades. So hold on, let me check one other place. Now that I remember, I'm glad I read that deposition because I remember Shaw irritating the living daylights out of me when she kept saying, are you pleased? When he already said he's not pleased. Like, it's so annoying. I get that's her job, but it's annoying. I don't know. I'm going to take too much time trying to find that text message between Jen and Melissa, but I know that there is one. where they talk about the trades. How the good thing is the story is just going to be featured in the trades. So it shouldn't pick up any steam. But it did. I wonder why. But she went so far above and beyond what should be asked of anyone. What nobody asked her to, though. That's the thing, Ryan. Why do you keep why do you keep acting like anybody asked Blake to do any of this stuff? In order to land a jumbo jet on an effing dime, nobody asked her to. All risk with a very narrow target for reward. Who asked her to? It's nothing short of incredible and unheard of. I think she deserves to feel that. Then let her feel it. Nobody's stopping you. I think I deserve to enjoy the work I've put in over the last 3 years on Deadpool and Wolverine. Who's stopping you? Just enjoy it. Blake deserves to have people step up for her. Everyone who knows the truth should be in her corner, seeking accountability. Maybe that's the reason why nobody did, Ryan. Have you ever thought of that? Even after Blake Lively came out with her lawsuit, how come nobody came out? And don't tell me it's because there's all this backlash against Blake Lively when she had a good 11 days of support until they came out with their lawsuits showing how many of those text messages you misrepresented. And how you did not show the full context of those text messages in her lawsuit. So please tell me, why did they not come out at that time? Why did Liz Plank say she's going to say more and then just said jack squat in the end? Why did Jenny Slate just say that she, supports Blake Lively and stood up with her in regards to her this alleged smear campaign, but said nothing about the SH? Did you ever wonder why she didn't put out a statement saying me too? That would have been the perfect time. So if nobody's stepping up for Blake, ask yourself if the truth is truly on her side. These guys are enjoying laurels. No, they're not. You don't know half of the stress that you're inflicting on them and how torturous this whole situation had been for them. It's so funny that you project so much that you literally thought that these guys were enjoying their laurels, accolades, and a conflict-free win. What in the Lulu are you living in? You're here running your mouth over here in your text messages while they're over here freaking out and trying to survive all your attacks. So I'm sorry. Like, I don't know how you're representing yourself in this way to these people when you're the one doing attacks on them. Zero humility. That sounds like you, Ryan. Baldoni saw the movie for the first time at the premiere. Why wonder why? I wonder why. We literally have text messages saying that your wife said he couldn't see the movie. We literally have text messages that says that their editors couldn't even see it because you took it over. Your wife took it over, you took it over, whatever, whoever did the takeover. Are you freaking kidding me? You're blaming Baldoni for not seeing it until the premiere when it's literally your job. Like y'all did that. He wanted to see it before it hit the premiere. The editors wanted to see it before it hit the premiere because they didn't want their names attached to crapola. And you're acting like the stupid victim here? You're not a victim, Ryan. Blake was not a victim. Y'all did. Oh, Baldoni didn't even see the movie until the premiere. Yeah, because you wouldn't let him. As the director, you wouldn't let him. As the editors, you wouldn't let them. So I'm sorry. Are these people unaware of the crapola y'all are putting? I'm pretty sure they're aware because they're the conduit of making sure these things were going down the way it was going down. So please. It's baffling. Oh, you're always baffled, aren't you? It's baffling that he has the lazy lidded, and then you love lazy lidded confidence to even show up with full knowledge that the entire cast and a bunch of crew members know exactly how he behaved. He and his bag partner are predators and frauds. We all know it. Sony knows it, and you know it. Full stop. Yet they remain unchecked. If Sony knows it, how come you didn't offer those text messages? Instead, we got Ange Giannetti being on record on things. Instead, we were, as a Justin Baldoni supporter, I was frustrated with Sony. I was frustrated with the lack of support that Sony gave Justin. But then seeing their text messages and realizing they experienced Blake Lively the same way as Justin Baldoni, I'm sorry, Sony knew exactly what Justin was going through because they experienced it with Blake. But they didn't experience it just with Blake. As Ange called it, right? She Ryan. We're not asking them to detail the dumb horror show of a production they willfully created. We're asking them to take accountability under the most generous terms imaginable, to apologize to Blake, Colleen, and the rest of the cast and crew they've hurt. Folks who acted with integrity and professionalism throughout the entire production, both post-production and promotion of the film. These are people that seriously think, Justin, like we had Isabella thanking him. These folks had, even Jenny Slate said she would have had zero problems promoting with him. That it wasn't like that if Justin was there, she would not have had a problem promoting. They asked Isabella if she would have had a problem. The only person who had a problem, Blake. And Blake made her problem everybody else's problem. And here's Ryan Reynolds saying, "Oh, she should have." Why? I mean, Colleen Hoover literally cut off Justin Baldoni after that conversation in May and never talked to him again. He didn't talk to him again until August 12th to try to give him a little guilt trip. You know what I mean? And here's Justin hurt over the loss of that friendship. And you think that he's the one who should apologize? I think every stinking one of these people should apologize to Justin Baldoni. I understand that Justin is not a perfect person. I get that. I get that he could have annoyed the living daylights out of some of these people. I understand that he could have potentially not run the set the way they would have, and blah, 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 blah. It is not equal to what she wanted to do to destroy his life over. Like, I've never seen more entitled people in my life somehow making themselves the victim of a thing that it didn't even need to be this way at all. It didn't even need to go this way at all. Ever. Like, you're making problems and then crying about it. This is funny that he says this because it reminds me of Steve Sarowitz. Ryan says, we all work with people who aren't necessarily good at their job, but usually they're nice people. So we shrug and move on. But when they're incompetent predators and frauds, if they're incompetent predators and frauds, that hits different. Why? Listen to That's the stupidest line I've ever heard. Incompetent predators and frauds. If they're incompetent, they're not good at it. My wife wasn't going to finish this film as both a victim and a proud recipient of a movie and a opening. The only headline would be Blake Lively bombs. He doesn't get to walk away like that. And this is why I said, folks, that it was because of Ryan Reynolds that all of this stuff happened. Because he remembered his what's that bomb of a movie that he did? Green Lantern. He remembered Green Lantern and said, this was supposed to be Blake Lively's comeback movie. He's not going to ruin it for her. She has to take control of this whole thing. This is why I believe he's the architect of this whole thing at the end of the day. Yes, she's a willing party. Yes, she owns her part of it. But I really do think he's the reason any of us are here. To this day, I still think he's what if she was married to somebody else, I don't think we would have been here. I think this is Ryan Reynolds, his ego, his so many things. But it just makes me laugh that he said this line because it makes me think of Steve Sarowitz when he says that usually they work with nice people, but Blake, she's different. And it's an interesting statement. My wife wasn't going to finish this film as both a victim and a proud recipient. Why would he say and a proud recipient? I know that's kind of sarcastic because of a whatever, but why would he even say that? The thing that I believe both my wife and I are missing most in this debacle is your rage. And I hope I've illustrated why that is. I have never had anything but an intense love and admiration for WME and the entire company. But I've also never needed WME like I do in this moment. I'm always comfortable handling my own, but this is a situation in which I need, along with Blake, a sense of solidarity and a duty of care. Okay, so he wrote this at 9:23 p.m. They respond to him 10, 11, 12, about 3 hours later. So he's out here raging, saying, everybody knows this. Everybody knows. And this is Patrick Whitesell. Ryan, I completely understand all of this. Blake and you deserve the advocacy from us as your agents. As your agents. I think that's key. As your agents. I hadn't been aware of all this until you reached out to me a few weeks ago. Why is that? I noticed that. None of his text messages had this bent to this extreme until July. I hadn't been aware of this until you reached out to me a few weeks ago. But in just these few weeks, I have learned the full picture of what Blake, you, and many others have endured. Who are the many others? I'm really sorry for all of you. I am also sorry that you haven't felt the proper advocacy from us. I can assure you that going forward, that won't be the case. Warren, Doug, and I had a conversation tonight, and we'll be deploying in the morning with the town. As you said, the most important thing here is that we don't let any of this have a negative effect on you two professionally. And that all the studios, imported buyers, etc., know the truth about all of it. We won't rest until that is abundantly clear. Oh, little did you know, Patrick Whitesell, that it would be abundantly clear. Abundantly clear. Warren said hung up with Josh a bit ago, went crazy on him for not getting back to us today. He said he had been working internally to arrange a call for you and Blake with him, Tony, and Tom for the morning. He was reaching out to arrange update on the draft. Marie Sheehy had been speaking with Jamey and the publicity team on their side. She believes there's something to on their side drafted, and they are reaching Justin to talk to him about it. This is something that you and B will want to see prior to distribution, right? Or due to the time difference, you want this going out directly? Okay, this is an interesting thing. Warren is saying that he was reaching out to arrange update under Marie Sheehy has been speaking with Jamey and the publicity team on their side. She believes there's something on their side drafted, and they're reaching Justin to talk about it. Now, mind you, Jamey and them say that the thing that was written up was written by Ryan and Blake. And we know that Warren and Ryan spoke separately with each other on August 9th, saying that they had to, he wanted them to make a statement. We know that Warren and Danny, I think, or somebody aside from Warren was in that meeting with Jamey Heath. With Jamey Heath. That Jamey Heath recorded. Oh, thank you. Oh, by the way, real quick, thank you to Elsie. I found it through what you said in the chat. So hold on. About the trades conversation. It's this. It says Jamey is still on with Ashley. Melissa said he's being attacked publicly. He brought on an expert to help end of the day. I'm sorry, she said effing B. She's effing B. And Jen says, do you think this makes him look guilty, though? Honestly, nothing against you at all, but honest opinion. And then Melissa says this, honestly, no. Everyone hires crisis. Leslie is crisis. If it wasn't me, whoever you would have hired would have been also mentioned as she used a tactic. It's trades as well. Fans don't read trades. And yet we have a text message on August 12th said Josh is ready to go live to speak to the trades. So that's my question. How is a story going out at the time that they said that Josh was going to go to the trades and get on record, which he didn't get on record, but he could have been background. So that's why I still question whether the Pam thing was only solely because so-and-so leaked to so-and-so that leaked to so-and-so, because I think that the origins was still Ryan and them, allegedly. Hi, Zuli G. I don't know if I missed other people as I was talking about other stuff. Okay, let me see if I can recall what I also wanted to read. I think I wanted to read Jamey's deposition about when he recorded the phone call. Let me see if I can find that. Okay. Recorded. Okay. Okay. I'm getting closer. Okay, one of the phone calls he recorded was Josh Greenstein, Danny, and Gloria. He recorded that phone call. Okay. Here we go. Let me see. Okay. So Patrick Whitesell had already done this phone call. So it's interesting. It's interesting that they're having this conversation with Ryan. Okay, now I want to go back to. I want to go back real quick to what Ryan was saying, or what they said to Ryan, because this was at 11:54 p.m. Warren said hung up with Josh a bit ago. Went crazy on him for not getting back to us today. He said he had been working internally to arrange a call for you and Blake with him, Tony, and Tom for the morning. He was reaching out to arrange update on the draft. Marie Sheehy has been update on the draft. Marie Sheehy has been speaking with Jamey and the publicity team on their side. She believes there is something to on their side drafted, and they are reaching Justin to talk to him about it. This is something that you and B will want to see prior to distribution, right? Or due to the time difference, you want this going out directly. So they're saying that they want that they thought that Ryan would want to see the statement. Um, but let's read what the deposition said. Hi, Akasha's piece. Hi, Donnie _29. Hudson, did you announce to any of the participants in the call with Patrick Whitesell that they were being recorded? I did not. Why did you record that call? I was incredibly worried of what I was hearing about Miss Lively and Mr. Reynolds and how they were speaking about us. And during the call, or the purpose of the call, from what I understood, was Mr. Whitesell wanted to discuss with us that Mr. Reynolds and Miss Lively had some feelings, and that unless we fell in line to some degree, the gloves would come off. And I started feeling threatened at this point. So I wanted 100% to have something of that nature documented and not rely on my memory if I needed to reflect on it. And why didn't you tell the participants that you were recording them? That wasn't my concern at that time. And when you say threatened, what do you mean by that? I don't know what it meant. I felt quite vulnerable. Not physically threatened, not physically. And did you mean threatened in that Miss Lively might make allegations that she believes she was harassed in the workplace public? Shapiro, objection. Jamey, no, that wasn't it. Hudson, that wasn't it? No. Shapiro, objection. You can't articulate what the threat was? Shapiro, objection. Is that right? I can articulate a host of things that led up to that moment. Do you want me to do that now? No, I don't. I'm not asking you to articulate a host of things. I'm asking if you can articulate the threat. What is the threat that you believe what did you believe you were being threatened with? Shapiro, objection. Jamey, I don't know what the exact threat was. Hudson, okay. I can only articulate all of the feelings that led me to feel like there was a threat. Okay, and you said there was there was a fourth call. Do you recall who was on that one? Okay. That one was with Dana Greenberg, but that's different. So That one's different, so I'll leave that be. Okay. Sorry, let me go back. And Ryan says, I appreciate it and thank you. I think I've just hit a breaking point with this. We all work too hard and too well to take this on the chin. I'll be around today with the exception of 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And yes, we definitely want to see a draft of what they're putting out. I think they should also include Jenny Slate and Isabella Ferrer in their apology. My assumption is that both Sony and Wayfair are going to attempt to thread the needle with any statement, and that can't happen. Needs to be unqualified, unreserved, full throat apology to Blake, Colleen, Jenny, and Isabella, along with the rest of the cast. Do we have any sense of timeline here? I feel so much. I can't. Hi, unseen underscore stranger. And I get it. I understand. Like sometimes I try to like, in order to calm myself down, I try to think about like, as weird as this sounds, I try to think about like what pro Blake people think, because that reminds me that there's people that can read this stuff and not be upset. And but I, as someone who has been following this case for a year and a half, I can't help but be upset. Because I just think that they really poisoned these people. Like I think I don't. Sometimes when I read these text messages, and I think the reason I feel this way, I think the reason I think this way is because if you read between what Ryan Reynolds is texting and what Blake Lively is texting, and then compare it to the kind of things that Justin and Jamey Heath were texting during the same time frame, you can tell how much they were being attacked by Blake and Ryan. Like here's Ryan talking about being victims while sounding so aggressive and sounding like the attacker. And when you read Justin and Jamey's text messages, they are so overwhelmed by them. They're like, you can tell that they're feeling incredibly attacked and like trying to figure out truly how to take the high road. So what I think the difference, I think the reason I feel the way that I feel is Ryan Reynolds tells us, and I've noticed this about Ryan Reynolds a lot. Ryan Reynolds tells us how to feel. He wants us to he tries to tell people what they should feel. And Blake Lively's, when she first came out with her lawsuit, that's the thing that annoyed the living daylights out of me, is that she made it seem like they needed to handhold the public's hand, like they needed to hold the public's hand in order for the public to arrive to the conclusion they wanted us to arrive to, right? The difference between Ryan and Blake is they kept saying that these things were true about Justin and Jamey, but there's nothing that ever shows that within their text messages. If anything, it continually showed that in the height of like Blake trying to make herself sound a particular way, Ryan making it trying to make themselves sound a particular way, that Jamey and Justin weren't feeling any of those things. They're out here thinking that Justin and Jamey are playing games. They were not playing games. They were not playing games. I think that Ryan and Blake really thought that Justin and Jamey wanted to do Hollywood the way they do Hollywood, and they don't. Warren said, no, as of midnight last night, they've gone quiet. Well, yeah, because Emily Baldoni said, F no. No statement. Blake made her bed. She can live in it. And I don't care if Emily had a typo there and she, meant that she can lay in it. I like living it. Warren said, no, as of midnight last night, they've gone quiet. I've spoken to Josh again this morning, and we've started our work in terms of analytics around the conversation and bringing our team together. Reynolds says, I think we need to coordinate a cadence with a Sony statement and Baldoni Heath statement, and it absolutely has to happen today. And I suspect other casts, not Blake, will speak to this on background or on record. Why do you suspect that, Ryan? Huh? You kept saying this. Nobody did. Nobody did. Because people can't say things that they didn't witness themselves. Kenny said, live in it lasts way longer. LOL. Yeah. Warren said, yes, agreed. We also should have a strategy call prior to your call with Sony. And Reynolds said, yup. Then on 8:15, I think Ryan was probably upset about if the article came out that blew back in their faces. I wonder if this is it. He got so mad. I don't know if this is the one where he starts to pretend he's Blake Lively, which is always weird. But okay. This is Ryan Reynolds with Warren. August 15, 2024. Ryan goes, Alex isn't willing to speak, even on background? Warren said she definitely was walking it back with me and Jamey. But the crux of the issue in terms of this article is that she truly believes Blake and Jenny, but did not witness instances they shared with her. She was yelled at, treated poorly, and think they are a-holes, her word, so she can't corroborate what Jamey would need. That's what I'm saying. From my earlier conversation, she was an advocate for Justin being replaced on the movie and was told that was impossible. Also sent her secondhand knowledge of the complaints from both Blake and Jenny to others. So here's the thing. She was yelled at, treated poorly, and think they're a-holes. Her word. Okay. This is what I'm saying, that the whole 9 women that they tried to push out. If this was the thing that they were accusing Justin of, I don't think, that I wouldn't be out here saying you're a big old stinking liar. Okay? I would not. I think that they have more of this, Yes, he apologized, all that stuff. And yes, she did it, all these different things, right? We know. But this is what I'm saying. If they came out and said, we think he's just a fake feminist, or well, he did this to Alex or whatever, that I would probably be like, okay, yeah, maybe he just wasn't the greatest boss. That's why I'm saying that she did an overreach. There were things that she had corroboration for, and she overreached. She just overreached. And Alex was not about to put her neck out on the line for something that she did not witness or experience. But she was willing to say this. And it's her opinion. She has the right to that opinion. There's times where it is very clear that Alex did not like Blake either. Okay? But she played the game that she needed to play as the producer to get this movie done. And I think she was a little PO'd with Justin and Jamey for not listening to her when she was giving them all the warning signs about what Blake was about to do. She called it before it happened, okay? She called it before it happened. So I can understand her little irritation and why she chose to abandon ship and side with Blake. Because if they were not going to listen to her, she knew that Blake was going to win this. And she was going to be on the winning side of it all. And that is fine. I mean, I'm not saying it's fine, but you know what I'm saying? I'm saying, like, I get that from Alex. I understand that from Alex. From Alex's perspective. It's not like she didn't know that Blake was going to be a problem. She was telling them from day one what she was about to do. You can hear the irritation in the text messages between Alex and them. But also, Alex is the one who was foolish enough to tell Justin to just go over to the penthouse and have the discussion about what he and the intimacy coordinator talked about, because Blake was not willing to meet with her until filming started, because they knew that was going to delay things. And what did she say? Oh, just go over there and just read her the notes. Oh, so that she could turn that into SH allegations? You know what I'm saying? Like, that was poor advice on her part. But then at the same time, like, Blake negotiated that all these meetings happens in her penthouse. Weird to me, but whatever. I get it. She's a new mother. That's why. But still, I mean, I guess she has a penthouse office, or a penthouse office. She has a apartment office or whatever. And that's maybe where they meet. I don't know. Ryan said, why can't she speak on background to that then? That seems relevant. Just feels like someone needs to advocate for Blake, and this would be on background. She feels very alone. Then get on. If she feels very alone, Ryan, stick your own neck out. Why are you always asking other people to stick their neck out for your wife? You didn't even stick out your neck for your wife. So stick out your neck. Warren said, and I have the same concern. I don't think any of her colleagues are advocating for her. Well, why do you think that is? If they truly believed she was SH, if they truly were SH, why? And there's power in numbers. And I'm not talking about like, oh yeah, like they weren't gonna do it because they know the blowback of what will happen and da. Because at that point, well, I don't know about this point, but when she came out with her lawsuit, or well, I guess not her real lawsuit, but when she came out with the hit piece with the New York Times and the CRD, like, she really had 11 days to her advantage. Like, things turned so quickly. Justin lost jobs, Justin lost awards, Justin lost a lot of things during those first 11 days. Nobody stood up with her. Ryan said, I feel like the cast needs to make a statement altogether. But did they? Absolutely not. How long did it take you to get Brandon Sklenar to make a statement on your behalf? Here you're begging for the cast to make a statement on August 15th. Also, where's Colleen Hoover? Where's Colleen Hoover, miss? Tell me, what does Colleen Hoover say? I think she already forgot 5 days before. 5 days before. But you guys let me know if you ever need me to respond differently to all this noise. Well, they needed you to say something, Colleen. You didn't, right? So that was 5 days later that he's having this conversation about the cast. And I know she's not part of the cast. She's the writer, but you know what I mean? Also Instagram.com with Brandon Sklenar. How long? Oh, wait, I forgot Brandon deleted. I forgot Brandon deleted all those things. Never mind. I was about to say. It took him at least, I think, 8 days. Because I think he may have done it 8:23 or something, maybe 8:22. But all the point being, like 7 to 8 days later is when they finally were able to, you know, I don't know. Then redacted non-responsive, it goes, people have reached out to B who worked with him on other projects and had unbelievable experiences as well. Okay, who are those people? Claire Ayub, the one that you got to record Steve Sarowitz 14 days later? That person? Unbelievable? Is it unbelievable? Are you talking about Liz Plank? Who are you talking about? Mari said, love how Justin is simultaneously a doofus and a genius villain. Like, make up your mind, Ryan. And then this is when he does this weird, like, trying to talk like Blake. Like, why are you like this, dude? He starts to talk, he's Blake. A creepy guy buys the rights to a film about domestic violence. He acts creepy on set, creeps out a lot of members of the cast and crew, including me. He bites my lip during a kissing scene, despite that not being talked about at all. Okay, Ryan, where's the film? Where's the footage? Instead, y'all gave us 5 bazillion versions of the dance montage or the dance scene, but not one of them had the biting of the lip. You had all of this film. Where was it? Where was it? The fact that you could not even provide one iota of evidence, because all of this were being filmed because he was acting, but you could not even find this scene. They could find a scene where she was. They could find a scene where she was biting his lip, but that was already in phase 2, not phase 1. So where is this? He bites my lip during a kissing scene, despite that not being talked about at all. When she's up there biting his lip. And people have that on. Like, how are there more videos of her doing stuff than him doing stuff? Like, why didn't she provide any of those videos at all? Why didn't she? Why wasn't it exhibit 200 or whatever? Nothing. One of a half dozen incidents like that. We have competing cuts because his first cut included simulated penetration of a 15-year-old girl. Simulated. Just kind of like simulated nudity, meaning she was never asked to even be nude in the birth scene. And yet, how many people got told that she was asked to be naked in that movie? She was asked to be naked. When in reality, her own lawsuit said it was simulated nudity, meaning she wasn't naked, y'alls. Also, she was in Stinking Gossip Girl, which I didn't watch. But people said that this is laughable, that she had an issue with this, when literally that's Gossip Girl was that and more. I don't know because I never watched that show. So I'm admittedly trusting people who tell me that it's laughable that she's saying this because she absolutely engaged in things that would fall under this, which I don't know again if that's true or not because I didn't watch this show. Not in the book or script. I was mortified. Why are you trying to talk like Blake? It's so weird. I had enough of his male gaze on a female subject matter. We market the movie to not feel like homework to get as many people to see this film in the hopes of creating a cultural moment to converse about DV. Instead, the conversation becomes, what a mean girl I am. Dude, we have a reporter. You're telling me we wanted to create a film in the hopes of creating a cultural moment to converse about DV? Lies. 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 You know why it's a lie, Ryan? Literally, we have a reporter who's like from Britain or UK or something that said she was explicitly told not to ask questions around DV for Blake Lively. So either that that reporter was lying. Well, why would she? I forgot when reporter talked about that issue. So why would you be claiming that she wants to make a cultural moment to converse about DV even when she's not willing to have a discussion about it? If she's not willing to have a discussion about it, how is that supposed to lead us into having conversations about it? And why are you upset that he's talking about it? Instead, the conversation becomes what a mean girl I am. You know what she could have done? She could have done what Anne Hathaway did. When Shasti Flock came out with a video about Anne Hathaway, what did Anne Hathaway do? Apologize and say that in the next meeting or the next interview, she can have, with her, it's all kosher, Anne Hathaway took that and erased it in mere seconds. The reason that didn't happen for Blake Lively, she does not know how to apologize for the life of her. Which is sad, but not for me. I'm so sorry for any DV survivor who feels like we didn't represent their story properly. Girl, that was your choice. You literally had an editor who experienced DV in her life editing a scene about DV, and you put it on the cutting room floor because you didn't like the fight scene. So I'm sorry. If you couldn't even listen to an editor who experienced DV and put her work on the cutting room floor because you thought it was Justin's work, you couldn't even respect a decision that somebody who actually knows a thing or two about the experience makes. You chose to put that on the cutting room floor. You're wild. Hi, Christian. I do love waking up to a Boshy life. Good morning. I mean, I'm glad to hear that, Christian, even though I'm out here upset with this guy. I'm so sorry my hair care brand launched in August, a date that was decided last December. But you know what date wasn't decided last December, Ryan? This date for the movie. We tracked when the due dates moved. Okay? When she fought for her version to be when she fought to have an editor, to be in the edit bay and all that stuff. And they finally granted her the opportunity to do that. The day after the 10 days she was allowed in April, they announced that they moved the date of that movie to August. It was supposed to come out in February, then it was supposed to come out in June. But because Blake Lively got her hands in it, she pushed that date to August. So yes, I understand that the hair care line was decided last December, but the movie opening was not decided until April of 2025, when y'all moved it to August of 2025, which conveniently falls on the hair care launch that you decided last December. So nobody's questioning, Ryan, that the hair care brand was decided back in December. My point is, because your wife wanted her cut to be the one that's chosen, they moved it to August to appease her, to give her more time. And also because she convinced, I'm sure, allegedly, that would be the most convenient, because you could have two blockbuster movies right next to each other and you both would promote Deadpool and Wolverine, and it ends with us. It's going to be this Barbenheimer situation. I don't need to see those text messages to see the writing on the wall. That's the kind of thing that you pushed out to Sony, who does not have a streaming service and is dependent, utterly dependent on movies doing well in the theater. And then the movie had to move later in summer because of the post-production issues. The post-production issues was Blake. The post-production issues was Blake. It was ready to go, but because she wanted to get her fingers into it, it got moved to August. So stop lying. But honestly, this guy is a creep. Watch his podcast. Is he a feminist or is he a creepy guy performing as a feminist? I don't know. I don't know, Ryan. Are you okay? He's not worth it. Is the effing latter, I assure you. Kudos to his very good PR team. Are you jealous that he had a good PR team, Ryan, because yours sucked after you spent so much money all these decades and realized that your PR company is now outdated? Does that annoy you? Do you have any loyalty to Leslie, or are you letting her go because you realize that the things that used to work back a decade or two ago no longer works as a way to PR things? Warren says, on a positive note, I love how I love how Warren does not respond to this thing. I wonder if Warren's a little creeped out by it as well. He waits about a little less than 4 hours to respond and says, on a positive note, Courtney Valenti wants to find a few movies with her. Could not be more complimentary of her work. She said should be a study of her ability to sell this movie to where it is. Other guy was made roadkill, obviously. Who's Courtney Valenti? Okay, Courtney Valenti is a seasoned film industry. This is who they're talking about here. Courtney Valenti is a seasoned film industry executive and current VP of film for Amazon MGM. She has previously served as president, production, and developer for Warner Brothers Pictures. How did that work out for you? I mean, oh, look at that. She was a producer for Barbie. I mean, she's done a lot of work. I mean, or a good amount of work that's like well known. I mean, did she end up hooking Blake Lively up for something? I don't think so. RR said that was very nice of her to say. And yes, B did something exceptional with this. And it should have changed the entire game for her. But I'm not certain she's ever going to want to do this again. Well, good. She shouldn't try to steal other people's movies ever again. Like, hopefully, lesson learned, Ryan. And and this is the reason why I think she would never have done any of this if she was married to somebody else. If she was married to someone else, not Ryan Reynolds, she would not have gotten into this lawsuit. But he's so big, he's so big in his britches. He really thought he was bigger than the public and that he's smarter than the public and he was going to outsmart everybody and everybody was not ever going to pick up on this. He was just going to continue to here, I am Deadpool. All the way through. He thought that him being Deadpool was going to push everything through. Warren said, I completely understand her feeling that way. Don't tell B, let Leslie. They've also asked her to host the season opener of SNL. Now it's not the time, obviously, to talk about it. Depends on how everything goes, I would think. I mean, I saw the clips that Blake used to have in the one time she was on SNL as a skit person, and it was sketchy like crazy. Like, it's a good thing. It probably saved her that she did not end up doing that because she would not have looked good, I think. And I don't mean physically. I just mean like they really put her in some questionable skits, especially with her background and how we always say like she's never going to beat the allegations. Due to the plantation and amongst other things. And so some of the skits that they had her do back in the day in SNL, I'm not sure that it would help her beat the allegations. Um, okay, August 17 to 18. This is again with Ryan and Warren. This is August 17. He says they have to start advocating for her. Warren, Tom is finding out internally about these two things. Spoke to Josh briefly. He's calling me this evening. His point is that the studio messaging in the article didn't carry in the way he had hoped. My point was they needed to need to dispute it to kill it, not resolve it publicly. Yeah, it was kind of so funny. Remember that article? It was laughable. I was like, there's no thinking way anybody would have believed this who had been aware of things at that time. It was such a joke of an article. And Ryan got it. This is the one time I gotta admit, this is the one time that I understood Ryan's perspective and agreed with him. Like that statement was so horrible. Poorly constructed. And then Ryan does his favorite, like writing it for them. But his version of it was far better than what they ended up putting out. But that's what you get, Ryan, for begging for it. When people don't actually feel what they're writing, they write crap. Ryan said they need to frame it the right way. This isn't hard. The sentence needs to start with feels like they're trying to thread the needle. They just need to effing go straight at this. Sony would like to acknowledge the predominant narrative around it ends with us. This is incredibly wrong and untrue. This is part of a systematic and coordinated campaign by a crisis PR team. And Warren said, I plagiarized this. And Ryan says, and they've let her hang on the marketing angle as well, which is unforgivable. This is a mess they got her into. They are not keeping her safe on every front. I text Josh about this again this morning. The THR thing they did was a joke. This morning I sent Josh this. And then he puts what he would have written as a statement. We see the backlash over how It Ends With Us was marketed. We see it targets Blake specifically. But marketing and messaging a wide theatrical release like this film is something that is decided and designed by teams of people, influenced by deep research and performed by teams of experts internationally. This work is led by the studio distributing the film. Our goal was to release a film that covered an important subject matter that wasn't rooted in female trauma, but instead female triumph. This is a choice we all made. We see and acknowledge any survivors who wish we marketed this differently. We see and acknowledge all the overwhelming positive impact the message of the film itself has had. We're thrilled this film has over-indexed and became one of the great success stories of the year. What a profound moment for women in film. And frankly, I do think that's a stronger statement. They probably should have gone with Ryan's statement at that time. Like, this is a stronger statement to me. Hate Ryan, like Ryan, be indifferent to Ryan. This is a better statement than what they ended up putting in the Hollywood Reporter. When I read that Hollywood Reporter article, I was like, y'all got to be kidding me. It was so devoid of reality. Let me see if I can remember what the article was called. I can't remember. But it's the one where Tom's like, wanting to do this many more movies with Blake Lively. I can't remember what the article was. Can people remember? Okay, I think I found it. August 14. Okay. So just to see how much better Ryan Reynolds' statement actually was versus with what they went with, because I'm like, what is this? So this is what they said at that time. It was such a poor decision on their part. Just to jog people's memories. It ends with a Sony chief praises Blake Lively for advancing the conversation around domestic violence. Nobody with a brain believed that, okay? Tony Vinciquerra, CEO of Sony Pictures Entertainment, also commended author Colleen Hoover and the other women who made the hit movie possible. In mid-June, star producer. Okay, I'm not going to read all this part. I'm just going to read you the statement that they put out. Colleen Hoover's book Bonanza and her fans sparked the fire that was the beginning of the cultural movement, says Josh Greenstein, a veteran marketer and president of Sony Pictures Entertainment Motion Picture Group. And then another one was, okay, this is I think from Tony Vinciquerra. Yeah, it is. It says Blake, Colleen, and so many women put so much effort into this remarkable movie, working selflessly from the start to ensure that such an important subject matter was handled with care. Audiences love the movie. Blake's passion and commitment is advancing the conversation around domestic violence is commendable. Sony Pictures Entertainment Chair CEO Tony Vinciquerra told the Hollywood Reporter, "We love working with Blake and we want to do 12 more movies with her." Okay. In the end, he no longer works with Sony. Josh no longer works with Sony. So that's just funny. The ironies of ironies that the two people who came out in support of Blake Lively, they're no longer working there. Obviously, because Josh went to Paramount and Tony retired. But still. I'm trying to see if I wasn't sure if there was comments. Okay. Sorry. This is the final text message before I'm like, should I cover the Jamey text? Because it's already been 2 hours and 17 minutes. But but I do think that this was a stronger messaging from Ryan. And then Ryan says, and I've rewritten this extensively since sending to Josh. Can you resend? And this needs to be addressed immediately. This is the most disturbing thing I've ever seen in this business. Sony needs to step up for real. Enough is enough. I mean, again, at least it's, I don't know, there's something about I mean, and real quick, cautious, like that was all rubbish. And Elsie said, but it was Ryan's marketing. What I'm saying though, when I say that I think this is a better statement, it's like, if you don't know jack squat, I feel like this could de-escalate things or diffuse things at least a little bit, because it's not trying to pretend that they don't, well, except the fact that he says we see it targets Blake specifically. If people are having real feedback on how she was marketing it, then people are going to still hear that as an excuse. So maybe it wasn't better. But of course, he was out here trying to claim it was bots. So, you know what I mean? So in his mind, he wasn't talking to real people anyway. And even if he knew we weren't bots, I don't think he treated us as real people anyway. Because we're not siding with his wife. Well, I shouldn't say that. Maybe that's me being petty. I don't know that. I don't know him from jack squat, except for what he put out here. But there's something that it feels amazing to me in a way, is how little support they got from Sony. They felt while we were out here before all these text messages came out, feeling like Sony didn't support Justin, and we were so confused when we would read text messages from Melissa Nathan saying that Sony has our back or whatever, or Sony has like Wayfarer's back, and I was like, in what way? But in the end of the day, like when we see how the Sony people felt about Blake Lively and how she was conducting herself, then in the end, I guess they were right. Sony was more for Wayfarer than they were for Blake because of how she was conducting herself, or as they said, she Ryan. Warren said they claim they claim they are trying to kill it. I told him that's not enough. They need to actually own that the narrative around all of this is untrue. Tom owes me. We'll resend the above. Well, it's hard for Tom to do that if he knows some of the stuff that was going down and he knows how much Blake was involved in stuff that they didn't. I mean, like, I think this is why I think they're so wholly unaware as well. Is because people play these games with them. Warren's saying all this stuff. Warren should know better. Warren knows what's really going down. So, I mean, I get it. He's his agent, so he has to play the game with him, or was his agent. I heard he's not his agent anymore. But you know what I mean? Warren said, hi, who's in touch with Daily Mail? They can send them my email. And Reynolds says, Jamey. So, hello? Maybe we should look at narratives that came out after August 17th through the Daily Mail. Because they're out here going, they're sending something to the Daily Mail. And that's why I always hated it when they were like, oh, they were putting out these negative like articles. Dude, y'all reach out to the Daily Mail yourselves. You know what I mean? We've learned the MO. Y'all put it out in the Daily Mail as feelers, and then if it goes really well, then you put it in a legitimate news outlet. Now we know how many people are PR companies are actually involved in giving stuff over to these tabloids because people view them as tabloids and not the real thing. So that people are like, well, we can't take them seriously anyway because it's a tabloid. When in reality, they are getting stuff from people. Ryan says they have to stop BSing us and get in front. Not just because it's the right thing to do, but because these guys are doing this all with zero repercussions. Baldoni needs to see that an entire studio knows what he's doing. Again, he is living in la la land, thinking that Justin was not feeling hurt and feeling all of the different stuff. He has been feeling more things about this whole situation than Ryan Reynolds ever did. I mean, the difference between what Ryan Reynolds thinks is happening in Justin Baldoni's mind and Justin Baldoni's world versus what we see in Justin Baldoni and Jamey Heath's text are a world of difference. And this is why I so believe that Ryan Reynolds was out here projecting his thoughts instead of being in reality. Warren says, copy, they're covering it's about exposure. And Reynolds says, yes, but our backs are against the wall. The threat of exposure gets way worse the more impotent they are in reacting to this. She's almost at the nothing to lose phase. Well, you all found out that she may have had nothing to lose, but you certainly did, Ryan, right? You certainly did. That's why I said that we witnessed you seemingly having no issue having your wife take some of these hits, but the minute your career was starting to get harmed by it, then it was different. Warren said, yes, I understand that, and that's the leverage. The reporter has reached out via email to Leslie, now has connected with Sony's head of comms. She has both the short statement and the longer version. I imagine killing the story is their focus. I plan to call Ari tomorrow and have him give his good friend Tom a call. I'm sure he did. Reynolds says, yes, yeah, please, all hands on deck. And the marketing quote I gave you isn't for Daily Mail. That's for them to release wherever it's most impactful. Warren says, yes, I got that. I was saying the Daily thing needs to be killed and then the bigger issue, which is the thing I'm pressing on them. Reynolds, 100%. This was cool. And then he sent a TikTok. I wonder if it's one of the people that he ends up following. Oh, the account. No, the video doesn't exist anymore. Warren says, call me, hung up with Tom. Reynolds says, our kids are really struggling and I'm trying to get them down right now. Warren says, I'm hesitant to put it in writing, but the AD issue is true. I haven't spoken to her about this issue, but he is saying they have to assume there is a paper trail of and the Wayfarer side. In the Wayfarer side, it was B who wanted her fired. We argued about a statement which he both said isn't possible due to liability, and getting Tony on the record to support her and speak to the marketing issue was big for them. However, carried around the world but didn't combat the fundamental issue, celebrity and gossip. We left it that he's putting himself in the studio in a position with you and Blake legally. There is exposure on both sides for him. I will have Ari talk to him, but I do think this is people coming forward in support of her in our way through regardless. I have to assume they have a cadre of things that they plan to utilize within the bounds of production to make her look bad. So they knew that she would look bad based off of what she did in production. That's why I'm like, why pretend that you didn't take over? RR is escalating it here, says SGAXS. Yeah. He goes, yeah, but Sony needs to speak to the marketing and frame it the way I mentioned in that text. Why? Who are you? Why do you act like you're everybody's stinking boss, Ryan? When you know your marketing company was involved in this whole thing. I don't see any way, shape, or form that it would put them in a bad position. It's just the truth. And they have it within their power to do this. It's a light lift. Oh, don't talk about lifts now. And the least they can do. They can't abandon her on this subject. And yes, the AD was fired. She wasn't keeping people safe in the set. She was negligent in almost every way. And one of the reasons Blake and the other women dealt with so much dark behavior. She was let go before going back to work. That's a big old problem, Ryan, to say that. And I think Julie Bloom needs to be on record about what she witnessed with Blake Lively and why she really got fired. Because Ryan Reynolds is running your name to the ground behind the scenes. Because that's what, I was thinking about, I think, is it Alicia, who's a script supervisor, right? She says people have ear monitors. If anything was happening, especially as women, and people didn't do anything, like, that's wild. But the fact that he's saying this about this AD, which should be Julie Bloom, she should, I hope she gets on record about what she witnessed. Because as Jamey and Justin were talking about, it was unfair that she got fired. And when people were out like, oh, she can't fire. Oh, she can't fire. They had to fire her. Here in black and white, they're saying she was, it was because of Blake. And this was almost part of the return to work document, but they hired a new AD. The backlash to the backlash will hopefully start soon. I'm sure. Well, the backlash to the backlash started fairly quickly. This is what I'm waiting for. Tom said the same. He claims they addressed the marketing in the article. I suppose it's about getting Tara and Josh to understand the difference. I need to go back and read their article and your draft. And the most heartbreaking thing about this analysis, Blake didn't realize the rest of that interview was so redemptive. They're obviously only playing the section Melissa Nathan isolated and amplified. Blake believed their propaganda. She believed that she effed up and had been kicking her own for the unforced error. But she actually answered his question with sensitivity and thoughtfulness, though she did not. I saw the full video, Ryan. It wasn't that much better of an answer. Hey, Prish. Go to back to sleep. Thank you for replaying it tomorrow. Reynolds says they aren't framing it with any teeth. It sounds like a bland as F studio opining on their big win. It needs to begin by acknowledging the cultural conversation and the systematic campaign coordinated by Justin's crisis management team. Warren said, I think the last part is what the lawyers buck against. Let us keep leaning in. We will unleash Ari. Yes, yes, you did. You definitely did. But someone playing the game at the same level as them in terms of the internet is what we need. Or trust the backlash will happen organically because it makes no effing sense. I've already noticed posts like yours above. There is, I'm going to wait and see, or this doesn't make sense sentiment building in my estimation. Then don't name Justin, but they can't pretend that something is like is then don't name Justin, but they can't pretend that something like is normal. This is coming from his crisis PR. Warren says, yes, that's F, and I'm not surprised she's doing that. How can one not? She's probably rethinking all of these moments. If I'm feeling disheartened, she has to be gutted. She will make it through this. We are at war. My word. See, I'm telling you, all of these people talk alike. These are the same language that Jen Abel and Melissa Nathan used. And they try to weaponize against them. And here Warren Zavala said the same thing. So how are you criminalizing or not criminalizing? How are you trying to paint Jen Abel and Melissa Nathan saying these words when Warren said exactly the same thing? Could it be that you literally were just at war with each other? Reynolds says, did something happen I'm unaware of? Warren said, no, just a general assessment of the efforts. Reynolds says, agreed. Okay. None of these things are available anymore. Okay. Any update on Sony? And can Ari go full Ari on Tom? Warren said they effectively got the Daily Mail to not print the AD story. Oh! I huddled with Jamey earlier and let her know I also want to be clear on our task for Ari. Oh, so you can kill stories and it's okay. But when Melissa got to kill stories, it was, oh no, Melissa killed stories. Y'all are out here killing stories too. Y'all are out here talking to reporters too. Y'all are all talking at Daily Mail. Like, pot kettle, meet each other. Warren said he will willfully go full Ari on all of them, but we want to know what we are having him accomplish. Reynolds says that is at least some good news. This wasn't for the DM story, but Blake remembered that every single department head from the film crew wrote letters to the PGA, so Blake would have the producer's mark and the credits. There are 19 of them, and each one is a testimonial to not only her work ethic, but her character. It's so redemptive, and I'm so happy we have them. Oh my word, they're so laughable. Some of them did not even try, okay? It's kind of embarrassing at how elementary some of their attempts were to write these letters. It was also, you can't ask for these people to write stuff, and she absolutely stinking did ask them to write stuff. Also, they're timestamped from a couple of months back, so nobody can say it was reactive to this situation. It's irrefutable and objectively clear what her contribution was and how she works so well and so inclusively with each department of the crew. Oh, Ryan. Mm-mm. No. There were people who put stuff in that were feeling some type of way about Blake, but they had to do it, okay? Because what are they going to do? She was the most powerful one in that whole lot. Or at least she had proximity to the power you held at one point. Warren said redemptive is exactly the right word. I agree. I'm not part of the strategy going forward and it's opaque to me. But I would think people should be aware of these letters. We are aware of it, and they're embarrassing. What's more embarrassing is her own PGA letter. So thank you for that. If I need to have a good laugh, I just need to read her letter. Miss, I did everything, as if the rest of the cast and crew were unnecessary, because she did everything, including HR. How laughable is that? We have to assume that there are also notes or texts sent to the other side from crew and actors saying kind things. Whether or not they were really meaningful, they may now begin to surface if there is a volley of information. Oh, Warren, you know that there's positive things, okay? You know. Anyways, I was going to cover the Jamey text, but it's already been 2.5 hours. It's 12:12 a.m. I need to get up early tomorrow, so I got to go. But thank you for spending time with me, and tomorrow I'll cover the 3 Jamey texts, the ones that are misspelled, and how like Blake and Ryan don't seem to know how to spell Jamie's name. But yeah. Anyways, bye.